While some regions are literally being submerged by record-breaking downpours, others are wilting under extreme heat and devastating storms. Even previously stable parts of the planet are turning into high-risk zones. But there's one important thing to understand. In human history, there are moments when everything converges at a critical point, a time when the system teeters between collapse and the chance to rise to a new level of development. Right now is one of those moments. Even the smallest action, a word, a choice, a single step, can influence the outcome. In today's climate report covering the past week, we'll talk about this window of opportunity that has opened before all of humanity. Russia. At the end of May, a new wave of abnormal weather events swept across Russia. In Yakutia, one of the coldest places on Earth, the air temperature rose to plus 24.5 degrees Celsius, setting a new daily record. In some parts of the region, temperatures soared to nearly 32 degrees Celsius. At the same time, in the southern European part of Russia, in Sochi, daytime temperatures did not exceed plus 18.9 degrees Celsius. Unusually high temperatures were also recorded in western Siberia. On May 23rd, in Novosibirsk, the air warmed up to plus 30.3 degrees Celsius, prompting residents to cool off in fountains. The next day, temperatures in Krasnoyarsk reached plus 33.7 degrees Celsius. 2 people were hospitalized with symptoms of heat stroke. By May 27th, however, residents were back in warm clothing as temperatures suddenly dropped and snow began to fall. In Karelia's Luksky district, snowfall and below freezing temperatures were recorded on May 22nd. Just 3 days later, a thunderstorm with hailstones up to 5 centimeters in diameter struck the area, and temperatures soared to plus 24 degrees Celsius. In Petrozavodsk, a new temperature record was set at plus 28.1 degrees Celsius. Shortly afterward, the city was hit by a dust storm, an extremely unusual event for this region. On May 24th, a severe thunderstorm with gusty winds left more than 100 settlements without power in the Sebezhsky district of the Pskov region. Numerous fallen trees and branches were reported on the roads, blocking traffic along stretches totaling over 50 kilometers. In Moscow, an orange weather alert was issued due to the onset of truly summer-like heat. China. On May 22nd, abnormal weather returned to the central and southern provinces of China. Sudden heavy rains accompanied by thunder, lightning, and strong gusts of wind. The epicenter of the storm was the city of Wuhan in Hubei province. There, a record 130.5 millimeters of rainfall fell within 24 hours, prompting the city's first-ever emergency rain warning. The heavy rain was accompanied by wind gusts exceeding 27 meters per second, causing trees to fall and damaging advertising structures. At Wuhan Tianhe Airport, air traffic was severely disrupted. 27 flights were delayed and 44 were cancelled. In the village of Qingyang in Guizhou province, the heavy rains with hail that began on the evening of May 21st continued through the night until morning. Water flooded homes, reaching depths of up to 60 centimeters in some rooms. In the morning, a landslide descended from steep mountain slopes, burying 8 houses beneath it. Tragically, 4 people lost their lives, and 17 others are still missing. It's worth noting that prior to May, potential landslide-prone areas in Guizhou province had already been assessed. However, the slope in the village of Qingyang was not included on this list. Nevertheless, the heavy overnight rains triggered a sudden ground collapse. Another tragedy unfolded on the morning of May 23rd in Guangxi province. The residents of the village of Sanxi were alarmed by a loud rumbling, soon followed by a sudden torrent of water and rocks rushing down from the mountains. The natural disaster claimed at least 5 lives, and 3 others are still reported missing. Chile. On the afternoon of May 25th, the Chilean city of Puerto Varas experienced a rare natural event for the region, an EF1 tornado. Wind speeds in the vortex reached up to 178 kilometers per hour. The tornado swept through the city, damaging around 250 homes. Roofs were torn off a shopping center and the city market, windows were shattered, and trees and power lines were knocked down. More than 25,000 residents were left without electricity. In the hardest-hit area, several houses were shifted as much as 15 meters, and some newly built structures were completely destroyed. 13 people were injured as a result of the disaster, with 6 hospitalized. Fortunately, there were no fatalities. The mayor of Puerto Varas described the event as unprecedented for the region. Australia. Starting on May 20th, eastern Australia was hit by several consecutive days of extreme heavy rainfall. A record-breaking amount of precipitation fell in New South Wales, caused by a slow-moving low-pressure system. In just 3 days, more rain fell than the region typically receives in half a year. In some areas, over 400 millimeters of rain fell within 48 hours. Rivers overflowing their banks in the Hunter and mid-North Coast regions triggered widespread flooding. Tens of thousands of people were left isolated, cut off from the outside world. Many were forced to seek refuge on rooftops and car tops, where they had to be rescued by helicopters. Tragically, there were casualties. 5 people lost their lives. The floods forced the closure of over 100 schools and left thousands of homes and businesses without power. Special reception centers were set up for those affected who had to be evacuated. The town of Tauri was among the hardest hit. 412 millimeters of rainfall fell there over just 2 days, nearly 1/3 of the annual average and 5 times the usual amount for May. The water level in the Manning River surpassed the historic record set during the devastating 1929 flood. Preliminary estimates indicate that at least 10,000 residential and commercial buildings along the mid-North Coast have been destroyed or severely damaged. Approximately 800 properties have already been officially declared uninhabitable and unsafe, and this number continues to rise. Even after the rain stopped and the waters began to recede, dangers remained. Streets were still flooded with dirty water, snakes and rats appeared, and exposed electrical wires posed a serious threat in some areas. Coastal areas were littered with debris and the remains of dead animals. A looming threat also hung over a wildlife sanctuary home to the Tasmanian devils, unique carnivorous marsupials found only in Australia and currently on the brink of extinction. Pakistan. On May 24th, a powerful storm swept through the central and northern regions of Pakistan, which had recently experienced a heat wave with temperatures exceeding 45 degrees Celsius. The storm brought thunderstorms, hail, and heavy rainfall. The storm completely brought road traffic to a halt, damaged infrastructure, and caused widespread power outages. Strong winds tore off solar panels, uprooted trees, and lifted dust and sand into the air. In Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, floodwaters inundated residential homes, creating significant difficulties for local residents. At Quaid-e-Azam University, the roof of one building collapsed. However, the greatest damage was inflicted on Punjab province. Train services on one metro line in Lahore were suspended and passengers had to be evacuated. In many areas, highways were closed due to low visibility. In Punjab province, lightning strikes, collapsing walls and roofs, and falling solar panels claimed at least 20 lives, while over 150 people were injured. The storm nearly caused a disaster for a private airline flight traveling from Karachi to Lahore. Upon landing in Lahore, immediately after touching down on the runway, the plane was hit by a sudden gust of wind accompanied by hail. The pilot quickly decided to abort the landing and lift the aircraft back into the air. For 10 minutes, the plane remained in an area of severe turbulence, being violently shaken and tossed from side to side. Panic broke out on board, with passengers screaming in fear. According to one passenger, it was the most terrifying flight of his life. Eventually, the aircraft returned to Karachi, where it landed safely. Afterward, the passengers refused to take the rescheduled flight. India. Starting on May 21st, powerful thunderstorms struck the Delhi metropolitan region and surrounding states, bringing heavy rain, hail, and lightning. The storm caused power outages and severe disruptions to the transportation system. Wind gusts exceeding 80 kilometers per hour stirred up a dense dust storm that enveloped the city in a thick cloud. In just one night, New Delhi received 81.4 millimeters of rainfall, significantly boosting the total precipitation for May. As a result, this May broke a record set back in 1901. The accumulated rainfall was 6 times higher than the average for the month. The storm flooded streets, damaged power lines, and disrupted air travel. Over 450 flights were delayed or diverted. The greatest damage occurred in Uttar Pradesh, where the powerful storm toppled hundreds of trees, destroyed numerous structures, and claimed at least 56 lives. In the city of Badon, strong gusts caused part of a peppermint oil production facility to collapse, sparking a large fire. The high flammability of the raw materials made firefighting difficult, and the blaze continued throughout the night. In the city of Mainpuri, hurricane-force winds knocked down around 400 power line poles, causing widespread power outages. The storm also affected air travel. A flight from Delhi to Srinagar encountered severe turbulence 45 minutes after takeoff. The plane was struck by lightning, and its nose was damaged by hail. Fortunately, the crew managed to safely land the aircraft with 227 passengers on board. In the city of Noida, metro services were temporarily suspended due to hail and fallen trees. The monsoon arrived on India's west coast 16 days earlier than usual, the earliest start to the rainy season in at least 75 years. On the night of May 26th alone, Mumbai received more than 5 times its typical monthly rainfall. Seismic activity. A strong earthquake with a magnitude of 6.1 was recorded on the morning of May 22nd near the northern coast of the island of Crete, Greece. The quake occurred at a depth of approximately 64 kilometers. In the city of Heraklion, the earthquake caused partial collapse of building facades, rockfalls, and landslides on roads. The underground tremors were felt throughout Crete, on nearby islands, and in several countries around the eastern Mediterranean: Israel, Egypt, Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan. Several aftershocks followed the main quake, with magnitudes up to 3.8. This is already the second earthquake with a magnitude above 6 near the island of Crete this month. Early on the morning of May 23rd, a strong earthquake measuring 6.3 magnitude struck the Indonesian province of Bengkulu on the island of Sumatra. The greatest damage was reported in the city of Bengkulu and the central part of the province. According to eyewitnesses, powerful tremors woke them up, causing people to panic and rush out into the streets. Many chose not to return home until morning, fearing aftershocks. Official reports state that over 200 buildings, both residential and public, were damaged, with 8 houses completely collapsing. Some local residents were injured, but fortunately there were no fatalities. During this week, 2 more powerful seismic events occurred around the world. On May 23rd, an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.1 struck near Macquarie Island, located south of Australia. On May 25th, a magnitude 6.0 earthquake occurred near the Tonga archipelago in the Pacific Ocean. The frequency of earthquakes worldwide is increasing, and this growth is already taking on an exponential character. The forecast made many years ago by the ALLATRA scientific team is coming true with alarming accuracy. Currently, earthquakes with a magnitude above 6 are occurring almost every other day. Anyone can verify this by simply installing an earthquake monitoring app on their smartphone. Seismic agencies often publish summary information with delays. Additionally, users have observed that the magnitudes of some earthquakes may be understated, and certain events sometimes mysteriously disappear from official databases. Therefore, personal monitoring can provide a more complete and accurate picture of what's happening. We can no longer rely on the situation resolving itself. Urgent and extraordinary measures are needed. The international scientific team ALLATRA offers a scientifically grounded way out of the climate crisis. Concrete engineering solutions capable of preventing the impending catastrophe and ensuring a safe future for current and coming generations. Dr. Egin Chilakian, a scientist from the ALLATRA international team, in his address, presents not just solutions, but revolutionary technologies that can transform our understanding of physics and usher in a new era of science. This is not theory, it's a concrete path to saving humanity.